The FBI is now warning that businesses and critical infrastructure inside the United States is now being targeted for attacks. And at the same time, we are seeing hundreds of businesses and critical infrastructure companies go offline and be locked out of their servers. We are also seeing a nationwide ground stop for flights inside the United States. So let's get into all this. You guys can see here, this is an alert from Fox News about this nationwide ground stop with Alaska Airlines. They asked the FAA to put a ground stop for all of their planes, but it's kind of strange because they could have coordinated and instructed their pilots to have a ground stop already, right? But it seems like maybe there was some type of communication issue or problem with their communication systems where they weren't actually able to get in contact with the pilots to let them know what's going on. So they had to get the FAA involved to shut down their own planes. Listen to this really quick, and then we'll get into more details of this FBI warning and these businesses.
This is a Fox News alert. I'm Marianne Rafferty in Los Angeles. Thousands of travelers are stranded right now after Alaska Airlines grounded all of its mainline aircraft nationwide. The company also requested ground stops for all Horizon Air flights, its subsidiary airliner. The reason for the emergency action reportedly is because of a system-wide outage that's affecting company operations. It's not clear when flights will resume.
All right, so you heard that there. That was what's going on with Alaska Airlines. And this article here is bringing up and linking how the FBI just issued a warning a few weeks ago that America's airlines are under active cyber threats. All right, you can see here that the FBI issued a chilling warning in June that America's airlines are under active cyber threat. That warning now appears increasingly justified. The Alaska Airlines outage, while now confirmed as unrelated to malicious activity, initially bore the hallmarks of the kind of disruption federal agencies have been cautioning against. So they put out a warning in June for this, quote, Salt Typhoon cyber attack that is actively going on right now. And they were worried that when this happened that this was part of it, and it could potentially still be part of it, because right now Microsoft servers are being hit and over 100 organizations are being affected from Microsoft, and they are under attack. They're labeling this a, quote, active attack. It says here a sweeping cyber espionage operation targeting Microsoft server softwares compromised about 100 organizations as of the weekend. Two of the organizations that helped uncover the campaign said on Monday. It says Microsoft on Saturday issued an alert about, quote, active attacks on self-hosted SharePoint servers, which are widely used by organizations to share documents and collaborate within organizations. SharePoint instances run off of Microsoft servers were unaffected. And they're saying this was dubbed a 0-day because it leverages a previously undisclosed digital weakness and allows spies to penetrate vulnerable servers. So this can happen to any company, to any organization, and potentially this is happening to our airlines too, but it would be such a massive scandal and national security and cyber threat that potentially they wouldn't broadcast this as a cyber attack. Maybe they would just say it's a glitch, right? That's what they normally do. They normally just say it's a glitch, some type of internal problem, right? But for the entire company, Alaska Airlines, to be grounded is definitely very suspicious. Doesn't really make sense that they would need all of them, and they needed the FAA to help with the grounding as well too, right? So something could be going on, and there could even potentially be remote controlling of these planes in the future. All right, let's hope that never happens, but potentially there could even be cyber attacks directly on specific planes where they are able to internally take over the control system and flight systems for the planes and maybe make them do things like crash that they wouldn't normally do, right? And we've seen a lot of weird things like this with military planes and things like that. Remember that military plane that crashed in North Carolina or South Carolina, I believe, maybe 6 months ago, maybe a year ago now. Time's just been going by so fast. But do you remember that? It like crashed in the woods in South Carolina, North Carolina. I don't even know if they ever found it or not. It was a fighter jet from the US military crashed in the woods somewhere. All right, how does that happen? And they couldn't find it. They didn't know where it was. It was like this big scandal a few months ago. Do you remember that? It was probably a year ago now. But how could something like that happen? How could they not know where it is? How is there not tracking and radar systems pinpointing exactly where this plane is? Potentially, there's even been cyber attacks on our military planes, okay? And that's definitely going to be in play if there's any type of war in the future. And I was just warning of even a couple of days ago, because this general was warning of major escalations and major signs of war, okay? And I was warning that this could be phase one of this, okay? Is these cyber attacks happening on U.S. critical infrastructure, all right? That's definitely going to be something you see first before you see any type of kinetic action, any type of bombs being dropped, is cyber action, right? From Russia, potentially from Iran, potentially, and they're saying actively from China right now, all right? This FBI report is specifically warning about China. That's what the Salt Typhoon is. You can see here it says FBI sounds the alarm as airline cyber threats escalate. All right, this is an article from just a few weeks ago, July 6th. It says here that less than a year after the spectacular cyber triggering shutdown of the SeaTac airport, I reported on this. The FBI has issued an urgent and chilling warning. On June 27, 2025, the agency declared that America's airlines are under attack, not from hijackers with box cutters, but from cyber criminals with keyboards. The timing is no coincidence. With global tensions escalating, the possibility of a devastating cyber event in aviation is no longer a remote risk. It is a real threat that must now be a part of our nation's security calculus. So they're warning specifically that these airlines are being targeted too, all right? So, and just all these weird things. There could be physical sabotage going on as well too. We keep seeing these fires happen with airlines. We keep seeing doors flying off. This happened with Alaska Airlines, the same airline doing this nationwide grounding. They had their door fly off maybe 6 months ago, maybe 6 months to a year ago now, in mid-flight. All right, people were in the plane, and thankfully no one was sitting next to the door, they said. So everyone was mostly unaffected, but it could have been really bad. And it says here the stakes could not be higher. This is not a drill. Over the past 60 days, a disturbing pattern has emerged. It says WestJet in Canada confirmed a cyber attack that disrupted internal systems and its mobile app. It says Hawaiian Airlines reported a breach affecting its non-critical IT operations. And Qantas disclosed that the personal data of over 6 million passengers was accessed in a call center platform breach. So these things are actively happening, and FBI is warning that these things are spreading too. They're saying actually this operation is called, quote, Scattered Spider, the one specifically targeting airlines. There's also another one, Salt Typhoon, that they think is responsible for this Microsoft activity, right? So this is all part of war. This is part of soft war, all right? We are already in a soft war with certain countries, and this is part of it, these attacks, and we're doing these attacks back on their critical infrastructure as well too. So let me know what you guys think down below. Hope you guys are staying safe, staying prepared out there. I hope you have big blessings for your life, your family, and I hope you have a big old blessed day.